Hi, konnichiwa. Not Jerell Sensei, it's Jerell again. Welcome to the Artsphere 1969 Japanese lesson. And 今日はね、雨の日ですよね。雨の日 means rainy day. It's really raining crazy here in Singapore right now. And also because of that, I probably wear Bermuda. Pardon me. Yeah? So anyway, today is a Sunday. Sunday in Japanese is Nichiyori. And what am I going to talk to you about today is, as you can see from my slide, is Wagyu, means Japanese beef, right? Because when we talk about Japan, other than sashimi, which everybody know the fish are fresh, you know. Another thing that get the world go crazy is always about Wagyu, Japanese beef, right? And then the most famous one, everybody, if you ask them about Wagyu, it's going to be Kobe beef. Yeah, Kobe beef. So, what are we going to talk about today is, you know, the Wagyu is such a general term, and then we always talk about Wagyu. And right now in Singapore supermarket, there's also a lot so-called claim to be Wagyu beef. So what is really Wagyu beef? So we need to know our stuff. Just like here in Artsphere 1969, we have many programs, and one of the programs is called Get It Right. We have to get it right on. We've done it with durian, we've done it with watermelon. So this time I'm just going to share with you the basic understanding of what is a Wagyu, so that when you go for your next yakiniku, your kaorou, your saorou, you know what to order, how to order, and you know some of the basic knowledge of what constitute a Wagyu. So, okay, so. But my first picture here is not a cow, it's not a bull, but it's ta-da, Naomi Osaka. Why? Because today is a happy day for all Japanese, yeah, including myself, fake Japanese. Why? Because 4 a.m. this morning, Singapore time, US Open Finals, singles. Okay, Naomi Osaka actually won the second time in her career in the last 2 years, the third Grand Slam. Second US Open, so happy news. Omedetou gozaimasu. And why I show her is because in the history of the tennis history of Japan, 她就是 Chinese people 所说的最牛的网球选手。Yeah, in the last 2 years, she has won 3 Grand Slam. Naomi Osaka, 2 US Open, 1 Australian Open. So 最牛的，所以 will coincide with my title today. So go back to the proper Wagyu. Okay, so when we talk about beef, as you can see from my slide, this is Japanese slides with all the kanji. Okay, so there is Nuro, Gyuniku, right? And then from there on, okay, I'm trying to get my, okay. I see people joining now. Okay, there's Eric. Hello, Eric Tucker. Yongso, hello. Okay, we're talking about Wagyu. So this slide, you can see there is on the top, Nuro means Gyuniku. Okay, there's the general type of beef. And then from there on, it's split into 2. Okay, I say in Chinese now first, because all this character here is going to be new to you. I have further slides to teach you in Japanese how you pronounce it. Okay, so you have Suru Niu, which is imported beef. And then Guo Chang Niu, which is domestic beef. And then within Guo Chang Niu, okay, is divided into 2. Okay, there's He Niu, which is Wagyu. And then there's another one that's, you know, written in Japanese. And you can see in Chinese, it says Jiao Zha Zhou, means mixed breed. Mixed breed, yeah? So one of the key points that constitute Wagyu is the Japanese breed of cows, they cannot be mixed breed. Okay, so the mixed breed over there actually means your Angus beef, your Jersey, you know, that you see. All right. And what constitutes as a domestic beef is also because, let's say, if the cow is being raised, let's say for 7 months in Europe, all right, and then it's been imported into Japan. Okay, and the Japanese farmers start to feed this cow from Europe for the next 3 years. So the time spent breeding in Japan is more than Europe okay, this particular cow is considered domestic breed, domestic beef from Japan, because the time spent breeding in Japan is longer than its original birth of, let's say, Europe. Okay, but the key point is Wagyu, okay, cannot be mixed. So whatever Wagyu, that's why Wagyu is so expensive. I'll give you a guideline, a gauge, all right? The top grade prime beef from America, Australia, whatever, the top grade compared to the Wagyu is at least 3 times less. That means the Wagyu is 3 times more expensive. Okay, so that is the reason why. Okay, and there are 4 types of Wagyu, as you can see. Right? I break it down, right? The New Wagyu, there is 4 main breeds. Okay, and it refers to, you can read in this is Japanese lah. Huh? I read to you in Japanese right now lah. Huh? Is Kuroge, okay? Is Akage, Nihon Tankaku, and Mukaku. Okay, so for Japan Wagyu, 98% of the pure Japanese Wagyu comes from the breed called Kuroge, which is highlighted in red. Hei Mao He Niu. Okay, all right. So let's go to the next page. Yeah. So see, everybody is always crazy about Wagyu, Japanese beef, and here I show you the chart. Okay. There is 2 charts here, okay, and it has all the ranking. The one that I highlighted, right, is the ranking of this year actually, all right, where the consumers, the top 10 most wanted to eat beef, the Japanese beef, all right, and then you can see number 1 is from Hyogo-gen, and number 10 is also Hyogo-gen. Why I highlighted these 2 is because when everybody talk about Wagyu, we talk about Kobe beef. All right, so today I'm not going to talk about Kobe beef. Maybe next week I'm going to talk about Kobe beef. It's true, Kobe beef is one of the top notch. In fact, one of the best is the art of fattening. Okay, when we talk about Kobe beef, you're going to pay premium prices. All right, but why Kobe beef is called Kobe also is because it's being bred in this prefecture called Hyogo. And the Hyogo capital is Kobe. And Kobe beef actually subscribes to a different set of standard of breeding. So they have very stringent standards, right? So Kobe beef has a stringent standards, and every year there is no more than 3,000 heads of Kobe. Of the cow. 就是3000头而已. I mean, every 1 year there's only a production of 3,000. That's why it makes it so rare to eat Kobe beef. Yeah, so if you have a chance to eat Kobe beef, really enjoy it. Yeah, and then another reason why Wagyu is so expensive is because to truly eat Wagyu, most of the time end up you have to be in Japan. Simply because of the first reason I mentioned to you, all the Wagyu, they cannot be crossbreed. So they are all pure Japanese. That means this breed of Wagyu, they are Japanese cow. Okay, there's no crossbreeding. But right now in the market, we see a lot of labels say Wagyu Australian, Wagyu US, things like this, because this Wagyu from the US or Australia, there is some percentage of mixed breed. So anything above 46.7% of Wagyu is considered Wagyu, but it's not the pure Wagyu. Clear so far? Yeah? All right, so, and then of course, under the left side here, I have all the different brands of Wagyu. Actually, when you go to Japan, all the different prefecture 全部的县无论你去到熊本也好，去到Hyogo 也好 you can get to eat their very own breed kind of Japanese beef. All right, and then there are a few here, right? And I'm going to show you the so-called top 3, or rather when you go to Japan, you want to eat beef, there is a few that you can actually ask for or look for it when you ask around, when you go to these different prefecture or even in Tokyo. that this is the kind of beef you want to try if you cannot have a chance to try Kobe, because Kobe is really too premium, to be honest. Yeah. So in the later part of my session, I also will share with you the different names so that you can pronounce correctly. Okay? Okay. So, and then for the top 10 ranking here for my audience out there, right? If you can try and figure out which prefecture they are from, and then next week you tell me, and then probably we can have more exchange from there on. Okay? Right. So this is another latest ranking because, you know, along the way, all this history of agriculture breeding of cows in Japan, you know how the Japanese are, right? They always try to improve on things. So along the way, there are better breed of cows that comes out, so-called, yeah. And then this chart is done in Leiwa Gangnam, is last year. For your information, for those who are not familiar, right now, I'm born in 1969. I'm born in the period of Showa, Saohe, right? Showa. And then there is a period of Heisei, Pingchen. And for those who do not know, Japan right now is no more in Heisei period, is in the Reiwa period. So you can see from the chart here is done Reiwa Gangnam, 6月嘛, June. And then apparently, okay, the top breeding of cow of brands are as per you see there, right? You can see Kobe beef is there, Dan Wagyu is there. Dan is Dan Ma Niu, Kobe is Shen Hu Niu, okay? And of course, the always very famous Matsuzaka, which is very close to Kobe beef, is also there. And then just on the previous slide, I show you the Mize is Yonezawa, all right? And then followed by the last three is so-called up and coming beef. If you have a chance to go to Japan and you can try, you must try this up and coming beef, which is the Miyazaki Gyu, Kagoshima Kurogyu, and Kumamoto Akashi. And all these three so-called up and coming are from the prefecture of Kyushu, Jiuzhou, right? And I myself have actually tried all three, and I really love it. Actually, there's most of the time when I go to Japan for my business trip, dinner time, I'll go to a particular place in Yotsuya, okay? And there's a very nice yakiniku place, barbecue place that actually serve Kagoshima Kurogyu. That means from Kagoshima. And they have been winning a lot of awards, okay? All the beef that's been served there is from Kagoshima. All right, maybe the next lesson I shall share where it is, okay? But this is one place that I always go, okay? All right, next, yakiniku, okay? Yakiniku is barbecue beef, as we all know. I mean, yakiniku is not new to Singaporeans, so but at least you know, okay? Yakiniku is Sauro, okay? And why Kobe beef is rather Wagyu is so healthy is because it is very low in saturated fat. Okay, for your information, it's actually healthy. Omega-3 fatty acid is also, you can find plenty inside all this Wagyu. And then because of these good fats, it actually reduces the risk of heart disease. Okay, and just to bring you back a little bit of history, all Wagyu that we see now, I have shared with you right now, all trace back to their ancestor called the Tajima cattle. All right, so 他们的老祖宗的 ancestor is Tajima. Okay, and from this Tajima cattle, it has been crossbreeding, I mean, within the Japanese breed, all the way down right now to the 4 main Wagyu breed that I have just shared with you just now. Okay, all right. Okay, so basically, Wagyu is rich in good fat, It's rich in good fat. And if I may promote something that our art sphere is trying to do right now, we have this trim and fit challenge, 60 days challenge, and we understand that all these beef is good protein, all right, but we also need to have good protein in our body. But can we eat good Wagyu beef every day? Not possible, because one thing, the cost is going to be too expensive. That's why there's such a thing called good protein that we can get in terms of supplement. And then honestly, right now, I am going to participate in this Trim and Fit challenge so that we can have a healthy lifestyle, taking good protein, yeah. But I need one more member, all right? So for anybody out there who wants to join a winning team in Jerell's team, please join me. I need one more member. Okay, end of commercial. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so you see, I say, just now I want to share with you and then teach you guys all the different Chinese character or Japanese characters here, yeah, so you can know what you are talking about when you go to a yakiniku place. Okay, as you can see, Suru Niu in Chinese, in Japanese it's called Yu Niu Gyu. Yu Niu Gyu. Okay, Yu Niu is Suru. Gyu is Niu, imported beef. As you can see, I mentioned just now earlier, these are the USDA, or rather the US beef. All right, and you can see that the color is actually not very appetizing. Nothing against it, but there again, there is a big difference. Okay, and because of that, the Wagyu is always 3 times more expensive. Okay, pure breed Wagyu. And then the next vocabulary I'd like to share with you is Guo Tan Niu, Kokusan Gyu. Kokusan Gyu. Kokusan is Guo Tan, okay, domestic. Gyu again is beef. So domestic beef. Like I mentioned earlier, what constitutes a domestic beef? It can be imported from Europe, for example, or even imported from America, from Australia. So maybe this young foal that come in 10 months old, bred by a Japanese farmer for the next 3 years before it gets slaughtered. This particular beef is also considered domestic beef. Kokusan Gyu. Okay? All right, so far so good. Now I'm going to share with you again. These are the points you can show off your friends, because when we talk about Wagyu, there's only 4 strains, only 4 breeds, just like Singapore: Chinese, Malay, Eurasian, and Indian. 4 breed only, Boreal. Okay, all right. So these are all pure Japanese breed. All right, and out of these 4, 98% comes from this breed called Kuroge. Kuroge, Hei Mao. Kuroge, Hei Mao, Japanese Blackhorn. So the Kobe beef, the Matsuzaka beef is also part of this breed called Kuroge. It's just that Kobe beef is being bred in a very different standard, in which I'm going to share next week. All right, I'm going to share next week. Just remember, Kobe beef is expensive because every year they only have 3,000, nothing more, nothing less. So in fact, 95% of the time you can only eat Kobe beef in Kobe, or rather in Japan. Okay. All right. Next slide is the Akage. Akage. 刺毛, as in red, but of course it's not red in color, it's more brownish. It's called Japanese brown. All right, so what is special about the Akage is the meat is a little bit leaner. It's a healthier breed of cattle. It has very light mouth taste. Akage. So Akage, one of the best Akage beef comes from Kumamoto. All right, and then just like I'm not saying that I'm a beef expert. I'm just trying to tell you that overall, Wagyu is really very delicious. It's like what everybody keeps saying. If you put it in your mouth, it melts. Why? It melts because of the marble of the meat, that it can melt in low temperature. So actually, every prefecture have their own Japanese breed of cow. All right, and they are really very tasty. Right? So again, it all depends on the taste of individual. Okay, so I will not come and tell you that Kobe beef is the best, because I personally tried. Right, I was in Kobe. I tried before, but somehow I tasted another beef. To me, my personal is better than Kobe beef. But then again, everybody has their own preference. I'm just saying that there is no real number one, number two, but there's like a general opinion. Okay. Okay, so the third breed is Nihon Tankaku. Nihon Tankaku. So Nihon, everybody knows Japan, right? Tankaku is shorthorn, 短的啊，短角 Japanese shorthorn. This is also what you call it, highly prized for the savory flavor of the beef. Okay, so Nihon Tankaku has a very distinct taste. Okay, if a child taste it, is very savory flavor. Okay. Jeremy asked, any recommendation for Japanese beef in Singapore? Yes, definitely there are. Before I release the name of the few restaurants that I know, you have to be prepared to release quite a significant amount on a dinner. Okay, on an average, you have to spend about 250 per person. Yeah, so there's a couple that I know. If you want, I can really put it on, share with you. Then the last breed is called Mukaku, Japanese pole. Okay, don't ask me why it's called Japanese pole in English, but it's Mukaku. That means there's no horn. Okay, no horn. All right, so it's similar to brown and shorthorn in terms of the leanness. Okay, but the texture is rich. It's more meaty taste. Okay, the Mukaku. So basically, like I say, when you go for Wagyu, the most of the time, 98% of the time, you get to try is koroge. All right, so you have a chance to go for the so-called rarer ones, like Akage in Kumamoto. All right, you should. But so far so good. Okay, so we need to know our beef, because when we go and order, in yakiniku, we must understand how to choose beef, what is considered good beef, etc., etc. All right. So this is the image. You can see, I show you here, there's a Nihon Tankaku. All right, how the meat will look like is very red in color, right? Like blood red. All right, and then there is the one that is a lot more marble in it. Okay, those are really good beef. That means it can melt in your mouth at a very low temperature because of the marble in the beef. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so when I show you just now the chart, there's a Japanese character. It's called Shimofuri. Shimofuri is marbling. All right. So marbling is that webbing of creamy white fat, yeah, okay, that reaches the cut of beef. It gives this very spectacular tenderness and juiciness and richness. So in the Japanese system, this marbling scale goes from 3 to 12. Okay, from 3到12, 3 to 12, with 3 being the most basic, 12 being the most, or rather the maximum, the best. Okay, in terms of the white marbling. So if you have a piece of beef where the white marbling is almost covering the whole meat itself, probably it ranks in 10, 11, or 12. So even if you do the barbecue, you just have to put it on top of the hot grill, flip it for like 3-4 seconds, you can put in your mouth. In fact, you can eat it rare. All right, and then it really melts. And then the oil that is going to be in your mouth does not taste like oil. It's just a heavenly feeling. Honestly, I've tried myself. Yeah. So we don't talk about 1 and 2 because the marbling is almost not available. You can't see it, so it's not even considered part of your ranking. So for the marbling, the Japanese scale BMS is from 3 to 12, 3 being the most minimum to consider, okay, there's marble inside the beef slice, and then 12 will be the highest, all right? That will be definitely your Kobe beef, your Matsusaka beef, your Yonezawa. All right, so, and then there is this Akami in lean beef, okay? Akami in Chinese character, it will be like red meat, you see, right? But here in this, in terms of beef, when we talk about akami, it means lean beef. That means almost no fat. Huh? Akami. All right, and then of course, there's always grading, right? So sometimes when we go, in fact, right now you go to our website, you're going to buy beef, you always see some alphabets and some numbers. All right, and this is so-called the standard, where you can have from C1 all the way to A5. All right, so what's the difference? The difference is, I have another chart to show in English later, but let's go to the Japanese word I'm going to show you first, to teach you. It's called nikujitsu. Nikujitsu, meat quality. How good is that particular slab of beef? Okay, so it's nikujitsu, meat quality. All right, so of course A will be the best, A5 will be the best lah. Okay, the A, B, C indicate how high quality the meat you can find within the cow itself. That means if it's an A grade cow, right? So the cow probably 90% of this cow, whichever part you're going to cut, you're going to slice, has good high quality meat. Okay, that's what it means. And then the 1 to 5 is talking about the quality within the meat itself, like the marbling lah, the meat color lah, the brightness lah, the firmness lah, the texture of the meat. That's how you tell the difference. All right, so A is trying to tell, just like, when you are a very fit person, you have almost no fat, you probably consider A. Just like we all Singaporeans go to the army, right? There's PES A, PES B, PES C. Something similar like that. Okay? And then within the PES A, then of course you have those who are really super fit, can do like 3,000 push-ups in 1 minute, something like that. Yeah, so I'm exaggerating, but you get my point. Okay? So I specifically find this particular chart for you so that it's written in English and you can understand it, right? So A to C is the U grade, meaning the cow itself, whether it's an A grade, B grade, or C grade. A grade means almost every part that you find within the cow itself is of good quality, all right? And then the quality is the number of 1 to 5, all right? And then it depends on the marbling, all right, like I said just now, the meat color, the firmness, the luster, the quality, etc., etc. Okay? Okay, you just came and asked which one is the most expensive beef. In general, it's a fight between Kobe and Matsuzaka, according to my understanding. Yeah, but like I say, when I started my presentation, you see, the one that has a blue character are all the different type of beef across Japan. And when I talk about beef now, it's Wagyu. Every prefecture have their very own Wagyu, all right? And then they score points among the so-called the professionals. And then apparently last year, the one that scored the highest point is Yonezawa Wagyu, right? But then there again, for the consumer, which is on the other side, I've highlighted, which is from Hyogo-ken. Why I highlighted Hyogo-ken is because Kobe beef is from Hyogo. Okay, Hyogo is a prefecture. Kobe is the capital city of Hyogo. So Kobe is not a prefecture, yeah? Hyogo-ken is a prefecture. Kobe is the capital city. And it is in Hyogo that they come up with Kobe beef, right? So, like I say, go to Japan. Practically, if you eat real Wagyu from the prefecture itself, you will not go wrong, okay? So let me go back to my slides now. Any more questions? Okay. All right, so now when you go to any yakiniku place, or even you have a chance to order beef online, all right, so anytime when you have a chance to order something or choose something in the A grade, you should be fine. The beef is going to be fantastic. It's going to be tender. It's going to be juicy. Yeah, that is an easy way to remember lah, A lah. Huh? So of course A5, any breed of Wagyu that has a grading of A5, you will never go wrong. But then again, you have to fork out a premium for that particular meat. Okay, so the next 3 slides I'm going to share with you is, like I say, these are some of the beef, or rather Wagyu, that you need to check off your bucket list. So one of them is Yonezawa Wagyu. Yonezawa Wagyu. like you can see from the slide, is a Psycho Q A5 rank. So they put A5, the top breed, right? It's from Yonezawa. It's called Yonezawa Wagyu. Yeah. Another one you should try will be the next slide. Dambagyu. Dambagyu. In Chinese is Danma Niu, but anyway, forget about the Chinese name. Okay, in the Japanese name is Dambagyu, Damba beef. So why I suggested or I put out Damba beef is because it's from Hyogo, where Kobe beef comes from. All right, so apparently the way they breed the beef over there, or rather the cow over there, they have a long history of breeding very good cows. Yeah. And then this one I've tried recently. Yeah, honestly, again is when I was on a business trip, and then one of my business colleague recommended, and then we went to eat. This is Hidangyu from Gifugen. It's really good, right? And then this particular slide, you can see it wins a lot of award, right? Naikaku Soli, that means it's recommended and highly praised by even the Prime Minister of Japan. Yeah, whether it's Shinzo Abe, I don't know. But then again, different news. That is next Wednesday, the 16th, Japan will probably welcome the 99th generation of Prime Minister, because Shinzo Abe is stepping down. All right, it's stepping down. Okay, so if you have a chance, other than the Kobe beef that you always know, and probably you know Masazaka beef, the other three beef, they have a chance to ask for it, is go for Yonezawa, Damba, and Hidangyu. Okay, but of course there are many others. Like myself right now, like I say, I'm crazy about Kagoshima. I'm crazy about Akami from Kumamoto. They are all from Kyushu, Miyazaki. All right. So yakiniku, we know. Okay. So when we go to a yakiniku place, you must also understand the menu, right? You must understand how to order. All right. So in a yakiniku place in Japan, or rather in anywhere, all right, when you see the word san, okay, san in Japanese is ue, but here in the menu is not called ue, it's called jo. Okay, jo here means up or above. Okay, it's a better quality. So you can see there's a jo san, then karabi means jo karabi is superior karabi. All right, so you know that this is a better grade. Okay, and then there's also another word that you always see in the yakiniku menu is tokusen. Tokusen, special selection, 特选. Okay, so it's a special selection type of beef. Okay, Jeremy is asking me yakiniku beef Italy. There is, like I say, there's a couple I go to. Okay, I can share with you later. Okay, so I have gone through the basic understanding of Wagyu. Okay, that they are from the 4 different breeds. Okay, 他们没有掺种的, that means they are all Japanese. Okay, there's no crossbreeding. And then Kuroge is 98% of all the Wagyu you can find. And then when you trace the ancestor, you always go up to Tajima cattle. And then the place where Kobe beef come from is in Hyogo-ken, and Hyogo-ken, they have very good beef. Okay, the Kobe beef and the Damba beef. Okay, so now it's still a Japanese class, so we need to do some revision, yeah, of conversation dialogue. Okay, let's go it quickly because you guys know about this before. So when you go to a restaurant, we do not read Japanese. You ask for English menu. So do you have an English menu? In Japanese is Eigo no menu wa arimasu ka? Eigo no menu wa arimasu ka? Yeah, remember? Okay. And what should we have for dinner? Yeah, let's go for a nice barbecue. You say, Bangohan wa nani o tabemasu ka? Bangohan wa nani o tabemasu ka? Okay, Bangohan is dinner. So So if it's lunch, is hiru gohan. Okay, nani o tabemasu ka? What do you want to eat? Okay, what we have. And then we should ask for recommendation is osusume o kitemashou. Osusume o kitemashou. Osusume is always introduce, recommend. Osusume. Okay, so now we're asking for, let's ask for recommendation. Osusume o kikimashou. Okay. So of course the waiter will come and take your order. They say, may I take your order? You can hear it. He will say something like, Okimari desu ka? Okimari desu ka? Okay, when you hear Okimari desu ka, it means may I take your order. All right? So you can always ask, Osusume wa nan desu ka? Osusume wa nan desu ka? What is your recommendation? These are very simple dialogue you can make in the Japanese restaurant. Right? Osusume wa nan desu ka? What would you recommend? So most of the time, of course, they are very proud. All the Japanese eateries are very proud of their own products, right? So they will always try to tell you, oh, how about try our special menu in Japanese? You'll hear something like, Kanban menu wa ikaka desu ka? Kanban menu wa ikaka desu ka? Kanban menu, kanban, when you hear kanban menu is their specialty, only unique to that particular restaurant, right? So if you go to the restaurant that has Kobe beef, they say, oh, kanban menu wa ikaka desu ka? You know there's going to be Kobe beef, yeah? And then, so if there's two of you, we would like to have two of that, please. We say, それは2つお願いします。それは2つお願いします。So for you have, if let's say you want to have 2 plates of the Kobe beef, you can just point at the menu and say, それは2つお願いします。Okay, それは is that. 2つ is 2. お願いします is please. Okay? And then when they bring the food to you, when all they cut, all the beef, and it's ready to come to you, the waiter and waitress usually will say something like, omatase itashimashita. Omatase itashimashita. So it's like, here is your food. Thank you for waiting. We always hear this also in any Japanese restaurant. Right? You hear it again. Omatase itashimashita. Omatase itashimashita. Here is your food. Thank you for waiting. Okay, that means your food is ready. All right, so the food comes, right? The food comes. Yay! All the different types of beef, yeah? Wow, looks delicious, right? So, wow, oishi. Oishi so. Okay, oishi so means, oishi is a natural expression, but oishi so means really delicious. You know, you add the punch, oishi so. Okay? Then you say, itadakimasu. Yeah? That means I welcome the food. Let's eat. Yeah? May I have a knife? Because they forget to bring you a knife to cut your beef, ma? Yeah? So, knife o onegai shimasu. Knife o onegai shimasu. Okay. Again, I have to remind my viewers in Japanese, there's also gailai go. They always take some foreign words and then they bring it into the Japanese language. So, like knife, you can say knife. Okay, like even spoon, you can say spoon. Fork, you can say fork. Okay, but of course, when you write in katakana, not in hiragana. So, may I have a knife? Knife o onegai shimasu. Knife o onegai shimasu. Okay, so you say, okay, then say, please wait a moment. You always hear this also many times. Okay, shosho omachi kudasai. Shosho omachi kudasai. Please wait a moment. Okay, please wait a moment. Shosho omachi kudasai. This is extra, because now everywhere we go, we like to have this Instagram moment, right? So you have the first time in your life you try a Kobe beef, you want to snap it and then show it to your friends in your Instagram. So you say, could you help us to take a picture? In Japanese, Sashin o totte itadakimasu ka? Sashin o totte itadakimasu ka? Sashin is picture. Totte is take. Right? Itadakimasu ka is a polite way of asking, can you help me take a picture? Right? So, sashin o totte itadakimasu ka? Right? So, they will be very glad to take the picture for you. So, they will say, yes, no problem. Or it will hear something like, hi, ii desu yo. Hi, i desho means it's okay. I mean, we are very familiar with hi, i desho, ne? Okay, so it has been a good meal. Many times, this is a very standard Japanese greeting, or rather saying in any meal, not only for your Kobe beef, right? Gochiso sama deshita. When you finish your meal, okay, you give thanks to the host, you give thanks to the person who prepared the meal, you say Gochiso sama deshita. Gochiso sama deshita. Yeah. All right, so that's it. That's all I have. I mean, this picture here shows two male gentlemen because there's also a very popular comedian group in Japan. In fact, in Japan, there are many comedians, they are always in pair. And then this latest pair is called Wagyu, right? So that's the reason why it ties with my lesson today. So honestly, today I have already shared with you guys the basic about Wagyu. I never talk about Kobe beef, but maybe next week let's talk a little bit more about Kobe beef. What's the difference against Wagyu? And then again, here in Upsphere 1969, we have a lot more programs coming up with two ladies going to show you a show off, okay, of how to be younger than your age, right? So tune into that, and then we have many other more programs. And then, in fact, for even Monday, we have a Young Boss Forum that you can also join us. Okay, find out more about our programs. All right. So today I have Wagyu for you, the basic understanding. You know your beef right now. You know what to go for, the grading, etc., etc. And I hope you have a chance to go to a nice yakiniku and have a beautiful, wonderful dinner tonight of yakiniku. Ja ne.